Hello, this is Dr. Pancho Romero from New Mexico State University. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this masterclass that is covering this year's New Mexico Music Educators Trumpet Audition material. I think that it is extremely important to understand and recognize the key that the etude is written in. Etude number 3 is written in the key of G major. This exercise is a scale exercise. With the scale exercise, we go through various modes, which are basically scale degrees. Major mode is the Ionian mode, starts on G. Second mode is called the Dorian mode, starts on the A. Phrygian starts on the B. Lydian starts on the 4th scale degree. Second exercise starts on the 5th scale degree, which is the Mixolydian mode, which is also our dominant key. Sixth mode is called the Aeolian mode, which is all our natural minor key. Seventh mode is Locrian, and we're back to the Ionian mode. Notice that we do change up the articulation pattern with these two exercises. We'd like to continue by working out various components that make up this etude. This etude is largely made up of triads, arpeggios, and scale patterns. This particular exercise works out triad exercises and patterns. Remember to practice very slowly, then gradually bring up to speed. Play your major triad around the circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is very important because we use this very often in Western music, 5-to-1 relationships. Then conclude by putting it all together. With this particular exercise, we work out thirds. We practice these exercises in various keys in order to gain maximum flexibility when modulating. Note that we are also going around the circle of fifths, dominant to tonic, with this exercise. We also change up the articulation. This is a continuation of the last exercise, working out thirds through the circle of fifths. We like to vary the articulation, create new patterns. Some suggestions: in a pattern containing 8 notes, slur 2, tongue 2, slur 3, tongue 1, slur 2, slur 3, slur 3. You can come up with at least 12 combinations for each 8-note pattern. With this exercise, we have descending major triads. These are all triads that are related arpeggios in the key of G. We must remember that we need to tongue lightly, especially the faster the tempo. Make sure that you give equal length and articulation to each note, and work out each 4-note pattern. Subdivision is extremely important, especially when working out a piece with rhythmic challenges. With this particular exercise, I'd like you to practice it using a legato tongue. Keep in mind that we don't want to stop movement of the air. With the tongue, all we are doing is interrupting the airstream. Note that I tie notes together to form various note lengths. Use a metronome and internalize the metronome. Make sure that we play the 16th note exactly in place in the final line. This is where we finally put it all together using the exercises that we have just worked on. Make sure to use a metronome. Practice slowly at first and then increase the tempo incrementally. Make sure you work out all articulation patterns. This exercise is meant to develop a controlled vibrato. Vibrato is both historic and very personal. Baroque vibrato is different than the jazz vibrato, romantic, classic. Vibrato on a flugelhorn is much different than vibrato on a piccolo trumpet. By going through this exercise, we explore two different types of vibrato, the jaw vibrato and the hand vibrato. Hand vibrato I use almost exclusively to playing jazz, but we practice going through this exercise. I do this by using long tones, setting the metronome to a slower tempo 60, and begin by counting out quarter notes, then 16th notes. The airstream continues to be supported, but there is a change in intensity of the airstream as you play your vibrato. With this exercise, we also get the opportunity to use dynamic contrast. When playing a phrase in a classical piece of music, as we move through the phrase, vibrato usually speeds up, and at the end of a phrase, it will slow down. Practice this slowly and very methodically to gain control over what you're doing. J.L. Small, Etude number 10, is also a study in grace notes. Grace notes are used to embellish the music. In this case, the grace note comes before the beat. It takes from the value of the previous note. The grace note can come any time during the measure, before any note. This exercise starts off by playing the grace note before the quarter note on beat 1, before the quarter note on beat 2, then moves on to playing before the 8th note. The grace note is usually half the value of the note that it precedes. As we play through this exercise, keep in mind that 2 tied over 8th notes equal a quarter note, and we need to practice 16th note grace notes in tempo. When you feel comfortable playing through the exercise, in tempo, you can compress the grace note value, but make sure that the note that follows comes in exactly in time. Continuation of this exercise uses a scale exercise, changing articulation. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this PowerPoint presentation of the 2021 New Mexico Music Educators All-State Trumpet Audition material. If you have any questions, please feel to contact me at pancho@nmsu.edu. I will be more than happy to help.